probably come in here to come down. It's that one that and then the motions, seconds, and motion of all touch the bottom. It says yes, the box, and then it's saved. And you can follow along as we go through this document as well, and I like it here. There's going to be a little bit of crunch on space, and so we can just kind of read it here and we'll look at them together. I just usually guess this talking, I don't always look at everything, because I find for something specific, you want to go along and say, oh, this is important, and put a mark by it. This is real talking, okay? Or this is what I do. And then I just usually want to bring those presentations, I just put through it, and if they happen to mention something that's not important, that is important, I put it in there, or maybe something side note as they go through. But you don't need to get everything on that with their strategic plans, so you just kind of type along so that they add something, you know where it belongs. Does that make sense? And then just follow. But whatever works with you, when you're doing it, assign it's the level. Just the name and not do the subject. It's almost a and bullet points and not other things underneath. And same here, put them. The problem is like this one, all content is without putting this, I think that one may not make sense to someone. That's true. So you just have to kind of this types of things. I use it for dollar amounts, again, videos later, trying to type dollar signs and numbers and all of that with the top. And I skip along. Sometimes I'll put like the first couple of words of the bullet and then just keep going. So I kind of have a placeholder, especially if they're going fast. And if they're not typable line, when you get into this, you can put just employees and certified support and forward and go back to my so it's just kind of a marker. So I try to get what I can and then go back and put it in other people who are asking what they want to know, what they don't know. Because you understand you don't know all this information. You just say, discuss the budget message, general fund revenues, and just kind of read it and summarize something out of that. And then, you assess evaluation, talk about. Usually I scan it and I don't know if that's important. That needs to go in there. But again, it's time for the job. And so it's part of the computer and get comfortable with that. And so it's just most of this stuff, like this is open to the public, this is open to the public, this is open to the public. This is open to the public, all these are open, so that you won't show it in a minute. Okay? But they can find it in the public. But 20 years from 5 years ago, they will see it on the face. Go back and see what you did.
I think he agreed. I think he agreed.
Before, right before that. I'm good ready.
Did you just call me?
Just in time for the summer.
Working ranch rodeo. Have you ever participated?
I've got a buddy from Hilliard that did one, and they actually won and actually got invited to some national tournaments. Fucking cool.
Well, we watched one the other day, and I think that is fun to watch.
Yeah, they do the wild cow milking and all kinds of.
Brandon and Country.
Just recognize it.
They do them out there.
I don't know how
I hear
you
them over in the valley all the time.
Well, do they? There's gonna be one in Garden City down in West, right there. Because Tate's in.
Friday.
They actually have their own rodeo schedule. I should say all, just certain ranches have their own rodeo schedule. In Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas.
Thanks for coming.
We just enjoyed watching a little bit. Would you make up your mind?
know, he was elected to the school. The same year I got back home. Sorry. So, city council pays money, I'll go with them.
Wish I'd have been with
So,
All right, it's 6:03, and I need to call to order the Union County School District Number 1 Board of Trustees School Board meeting. Will y'all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Look at this. I've got all that. All right, I need a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt tonight's agenda as presented.
I have a motion.
Second.
Second, any discussion? None, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. The agenda has been adopted. I need to have a motion to adopt the consent agenda items. A, minutes. B, payment of bills. C, EHS Classics Regional Trip Approval.
So moved.
Second that motion.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself from check number 131491.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Consent agenda items have been approved. We will now move on to our presentations. Mr. Thomas.
That Chairman Peterson, members of the board, I'd like to invite to the podium our friend, Mr. Dan Mayer from CBAR-V and Region 5 BOCES. Time is yours, Dan.
Thank you. I think this is on. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for having me here tonight. As part of my obligation to our member board districts, when we go out and make requests for mill funds from our member districts, We do a short presentation and provide information to answer questions. We've changed that, pardon me, over the last couple of years, trying to provide more frequent information in your board reports and not come in here and try to give you the whole enchilada in one setting and try to provide it. You know, I think early in the days I was so excited of all the things I was learning and wanted to share it, and probably was a bit overwhelming. And so tonight, that's what you have in your packet is what we have. I know the board has made a decision to not utilize the mill levy, and we are okay with that. Actually, with some of that and some of these conversations that have been happening, we've been looking for alternative ways to include and have membership. One thought we have, especially with Uinta One, is the business relationship we have with the Curlin building. You know, utilizing that, being able to rent that, we just signed that. I think that is something that has cost to it. We also contract tech services from you instead of the other way around, and so I think there's a real mutual benefit in those partnerships. And so I'm not here asking for anything. I'm more here just being able to provide any context or any questions that you may have of any of the services or any information that has been provided throughout the year.
Anybody have?
I just have one question on the item number 2. It says the number of students in the member district, this is one of the choices.
Yeah.
Member district fall times $279.25.
Yep.
Is that what the other, I mean, is that an option for the other, for all 9 school districts? Or is it the same, or, you know, does Teton pay more per student, or?
When you go into statute, there's a district who really, their mill levy really, for the amount of students they had, captured a lot of resources, and they felt like what they contributed was a way more fair share of what there was, and so they wanted to get to more of a per student type of calculation. They were the only one who wanted to utilize something like that. And so we've never gotten, that was before I even started, there was really no consensus. It's really been to district choice. We allow our member districts to make that choice. You know your finances, you know what's best for that, and we allow that to be that decision. That was just another way, instead of just doing 2/10 or 1/10, to get some calculation, to make some equity for large mill levies that had small population.
Any other questions at all?
So what would our contribution be, the 2/10?
The 2/10 roughly, on average, we've done the 3-year averages for our districts, would be about what would come to us, and again, based upon evaluation, I don't know what that would be, but it's been the last 3 years, or the last year, we were doing about $60,000, 2/10.
Our valuation is down a little bit, so I think it would be just a little less than
I
this.
would agree with
Yep.
that. I would agree with that. Total services used, it's up to about $1 million through Hayden Peak, CBRB, and those other services. We're looking at expanding different services to provide more of that. And again, what does membership and what does this relationship look like? Because I think a lot of districts are looking at their internal resources, the mill levies that they're contributing. We're actually providing some documentation on like return on investment, because we do offer discounts and there's some benefits, but when the account that comes from is fully reimbursable, I don't know if giving you a 10% discount matters, and I think that's what a lot of districts have come to. And so we're grappling with all of that along with you. We just appreciate the partnerships that we do have and the work that we do together, and so that's really what I'm here for. And I wanted to congratulate Ryan on his retirement. If you don't know, I used to work here years ago, and Ryan is responsible for hiring me here. But Ryan's been more than a supervisor. He's been turned into a colleague. He's someone I can turn to when I have questions about some of the things that we have to deal with in our positions. And so, you know, Ryan, I just I wish you nothing but the very best. You're someone I've always looked up to, and you're just a well-respected individual in the city.
Well, thank you.
I hope the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Peterson, if I may, I was going to say this before he said those nice words, but I do think it's a good opportunity to look at what we do with the Kirtland Building and how we can continue to work with Region 5 BOCES. It's been a great partnership, and those are things I think we can be open to as we have discussions moving forward.
I have one more question. So, Sweetwater 1, which is Rock Springs,
Yep.
what is their percentage that they pay?
They pay 2/10 of a mil. Their mill levy comes in at about 300. That would bring it to a tune of like 300,000.
Yeah.
The 2/10.
Yeah.
Green River, I don't have that number out there. Really, I usually compare you guys are about the same size.
Yeah.
Even Utelich is very comparable. I think. So. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
Don't be a stranger.
All right, we can move on to the K-12 curriculum and instruction presentation. I was gonna say, can we turn that? I know your guys' eyes are bad, but I can see it still. It's coming.
Chairman Peterson, members of the board, it's our privilege to present in May every year, which is nice, and gives us a chance to look at what we've done throughout the year, as well as share with you what our planning will be as we move forward into the summer. Just starting out, initially, we want to recognize Amy May has done a really nice job for us as a curriculum department. She'll be, as you can see, moving to a new opportunity next year, and actually in about a week and a half. And we will be hiring for her position within the next week. So we do want to thank her for the job that she's done, and thank her for the job that she did. As we know, she apply that same level of, I should say, stick-to-itiveness and commitment that she has to her current position. We'll start just quick with high reliability schools, continued certification in, as you see, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 for the elementary schools. All of our schools are level 3, but now continue to work towards recertification as we begin to move forward with that. That involves continuing to gather and analyze our quick data to ensure that our schools are meeting those indicators, and then doing the work if it indicates with their parent and student, as well as staff surveys, that they're not necessarily meeting a specific indicator, then they would move forward with that and look at that as an option. Accomplishments, we're in year 7 of our implementation of our focused teacher evaluation model. It includes 23 instructional elements. 8 of those are required, and then there's 2 choice elements that go with that. As we look at that model, it's a good framework for instruction, and I think that has treated us well, and it's based upon evidence-based and research-based strategies, techniques, and those elements, again, have treated us well as we move forward. We're grateful for the principals and what they do in implementing this and lifting that up and continuing to lift that up as they work with their teachers to help them to understand the requirements of those particular elements and moving forward with that. So, professional development to support strategies in each element. PLC time, Mondays oftentimes there's some structured professional development around FTEM. It could be HRS, it could be PLC, it could be database decision making. a variety of things that go into that, but that's really our focus as we move forward. And it becomes very job embedded, and delayed start Mondays have been really effective for our staff as well as our principals. They really appreciate that opportunity to work with their entire staff. Okay, we look as well at supporting teachers from higher to continuing contract. Becky Sines is an incredible resource in our district. Becky next year will assume some additional opportunities to apply her skills and abilities in the curriculum. Her first love and her first job, so to speak, is the induction coordinator, and that will continue to be there. She'll then also have the opportunity to apply some of what she knows and does to the curriculum K-12 as we move forward with that. Anything Doug, on that you want to add?
No, I just think that, so a couple of things. Number one, going back to the late start Mondays. I don't, you can't really quantify the impact that has. The opportunities that provides our teachers. We're districts that don't have that built-in time really struggle through a lot of the work that our teachers do. So from a board perspective, for working with the community to build that time into our schedule, the impact is really significant. And so just wanted to show my appreciation for that part of it. And then, the induction program that we have is really second to none. There's very few out there that has what we offer.
As you look at further accomplishments, teachers had to review and revise curriculum. Again, the state requires a 5-year cycle. We do that on a regular basis, especially with our major core areas. ELA, science is constantly looking, reviewing, and revising math. Many of the content areas at the secondary level. As you think about what has happened over the last couple of years, science standards, the content and performance standards were rewritten and revised. Our math standards were rewritten and revised in the name of lessening the number of standards. When you look at it, I think what they did is they just compressed it. And the number, you still have a lot of the content that is being required, even though you have fewer what they call standards as you go into that. Specials teams, music, PE, media, computer science, they're meeting regularly. They're meeting at least twice a month as a PLC, and they're doing a lot of work. If you go onto your website and pull that up under curriculum, you can see the work that they are doing, and it continues to be updated, continues to make sure that we are meeting the needs of what the state is requiring through the new and revised standards.
The only thing that I would add is I'll be out, Scott will be in next year. I would really encourage any board member that wants to truly see what we do, that at the middle school level, our collaborative teams, when they get together on Wednesday, it's the best part of my job. I look forward to Wednesdays where I get to go and sit in on 6th grade ELA or 8th grade math or whatever. And just to be able to sit down and listen to those teachers, whether it's just 2 of them or there's 8 of them sitting there around the table. And when they're collaborating, they're doing this work, it is truly inspiring. And so I would love to take you, but we're getting into, right, so now we're in field trip season. So being able to schedule that and make sure that the teams are actually going to be there and doing that work be a little bit tough at the end of the year. But I would really encourage you to work with Scott and go in and just see what those teachers are doing on those Wednesdays.
Again, looking at the overall process for K-5, the PLC teams in each building develop what we call a 15-day unit plans. Doesn't mean they're exactly 15 days. It means that it's just the name that was given by one of the consultants, which she referred to the process that way. It's aligned with our district unit plans that are reviewed and revised in June. Any of you, I would invite you to come the first week of June. That's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And those days We have between 50 and 70 teachers who represent all of the schools and all of the grade levels. They come together, they look at the unit plans, they look at proficiency skills, what may need to be reviewed and revised in regard to really the backbone of what we do, which is those proficiency skills. And then they decide on what changes need to be made to those, and then they begin to make those changes over the course of those 2 days. We have our first year under our belts, almost, of implementation of our handwriting curriculum. We went with the Zahner Blauser, we said Blauser, and they say it Blauser. So Zahner Blauser, which is an evidence-based handwriting program. We also align that with CPLA, so they, instead of doing it the way that Zahner Blauser says, hey, you need to do it this way, they do it in accordance with how CPLA is introducing those letters, especially important when you're dealing with kindergarten. Math and science alignment, we talked a little about that. That's already occurred, and we are continuing to move forward. One of the things that they noticed on the Y-top was a shift. They used to say, here's this evidence, and then which one of these claims, and they'd list 4 claims, is represented by this evidence. They've reversed that now for 4th grade kids and 8th grade, and I would assume in high school, where they say, here's the claim, now you look at the evidence that's here, which of these actually support that particular claim. That's a whole different way of thinking, a real critical thinking process that they're requiring. So our science teachers have had to really do some adjusting as they built that in and made sure that kids were ready for the format that they were going to see on the test, not just the content that they were teaching. We also have our ESPA, which is the District Essential Standards Assessment that's given twice a year. We give it in November over the essential standards that have been taught during that time frame. We give it again in February. We get together as district PLC teams after each of those. We look at the data, we ask ourselves what's going well. We ask ourselves as well, what do you notice that we, as a school, you did really well on this? What did you do? How can you help and support the other teachers around the district as they come together? So really, it's a district level PLC. Next year, we'll do that 4 times, one at the beginning and end, which really is bringing those teams together. The other 2 will be around the ESPA data and looking at that.
All right, so for 612, right, so what we focused on this year was proficiency scale revisions, and then assessment alignment, making sure that our rigor's there. I have on there STAR reading and math benchmarks. Those truly have been amazing tools for us. I can tell you, so we do our March STAR third quarter assessment. I can tell you with 80% likelihood exactly how we're going to score in the lifetime. That's how close that data is, right? So for example, we're 70% proficient at the end of the third quarter in 7th grade ELA. I'm 80% likely that we're going to be plus or minus 2 points of that 70%. Right? So the mechanisms that we've built for data have become incredibly accurate and incredibly valuable. Curriculum revisions, math and science, I'm just going to tell you the state stepped in it when they decided they were going to put new science standards and math standards in the same year. 2 tested areas, right? It's hard for our teachers, and it's killing our kids as they go in and they take the Y-top, right? We're pretty much done with that right now. The kids walk away empty, right, in terms of taking that assessment, because they're not going to get their data back until October or November for math or for science if they're in 4th, 8th, or 10th grade. And so there's a lot of work still to be done there. The state did not help us out. Hopefully, the Curriculum Directors Association has asked the State Board of Education to uphold on the ELA standards. Otherwise, next year when we go into a new state assessment, new vendor, we won't get any data back, because they'll have to go through the whole revision process for 3 content areas, right? Disaster. So hopefully they'll make some good decisions around that, but just know a lot of our data is not going to come back. I'm confident we're going to do really well. We're going to do really, really well at the middle school level. I think we're going to do well at the high school level. We're just not going to know it until
They're telling us August. We know usually that date is about a month lagging as we go forward. Other accomplishments and moving forward, when we had the Wyville grant, which was our reading and language development grant, we had a mentoring program that was there. And we've now worked at building that in, looking at Title IIA funds, and continuing with our mentoring program for our first and second year teachers in any content area. So that's something that we're excited to be able to say we're going to continue to move forward with that. Letters, which is the science of reading training for all K-12 teachers. It's there and it's available. Here's what's going to happen when we look at our new, and we'll get to it in the next bullet point, literacy and language K-12, which is Senate File 059 and now is law. We'll talk a little more about that. All this provides an opportunity for them to be certified in what they're calling the science of reading and begin to build on that. So thinking about literacy and language for next year, we're looking at adjusting our current practices. Elementary, we've been under the K-3 requirements for probably the last 7 years. Now they've shifted that to the 6-12 environment as well. So we'll be adjusting those and making sure that we're meeting those demands. We're implementing the statutory requirements as well. We have evidence-based programs currently in place. CPLA is listed as one of those evidence-based programs. They're not going to say, you have to do these 4 programs. They're going to say, your program has to meet the evidence-based criteria. And not every program does. And we're fortunate to have one that does. The literacy screeners for 6-12, and we're still waiting for clarification from the state around that. We're hoping that the STAR reading will cover that and they'll allow that to be utilized, but we haven't heard back fully. We'll have our literacy plan put together. We have it for K-3, but we'll have it put together by middle of August of this particular year. That's one of the first requirements that they have for us. As Doug said, White Top results for science and math will be available early fall. What they're doing is data validation and standard setting for the assessed content areas. And so that's what's causing that. School accountability reports obviously are going to be pushed back a little bit as well. So we'll get those when they come. We'll bring those forward too. Next is federal programs. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. As you know, our federal programs fall under the ESSA Act of 2015. Usually about every 10 to 15 years, they go through and overhaul that law. I'm expecting that potentially they'll start looking to that again. And it used to be No Child Left Behind. Now it's Every Student Succeed Act, and who knows what the next iteration might be. Again, the purpose is to provide fair, equitable, and high-quality education and close the achievement gap, especially for our at-risk and our students who experience the crisis of poverty. In Title I, you can see we have $1.2 million that are distributed across 4 elementary schools, as well as Horizon High School. And we look at the 4 elementary schools in K-3, we put those dollars, trying to build up that literacy development in those grade levels so that they will benefit from that as they move on to later grades, as well as in the middle of high school. Title III, we got $17,000. It's not a big moneymaker as far as a grant is concerned. However, it is very focused on our ELL students. David Day does a really nice job in helping and supporting that grant and lifting up the work that we do for our ELL students. The other piece is Title II.
So Title IIA is the money that we use. It's a federal grant that is tied to teacher professional development. And what I love about this is it provides our teachers the opportunity to self-select what it is that they would like to learn more about. So you have teachers that are part of a team that may be working on interventions. Well, that group's going to go to an RTI conference and learn more about that. And so it gives teachers the opportunity to self-select and find things that they're interested in learning. We encourage teams to go so that it's not one person going somewhere and coming back and trying to convince somebody else. That's a great thing. Perkins, last year we had $78,000. Out of that 78,000, 64 of it, or 62 of it, went to remodel the drafting room and really get that set up for AutoCAD. It's an incredible space right now. The other funds went to business as well as auto. This year we got about 94,000. We're working on getting that grant put together. So there's just some different examples of places that our teachers have gone to workshops. And what I love about that is that number's down a little bit from last year. We used to have Title IV, which is school safety and security, that we would roll into Title II. So we take it from about 300,000 to about 450. And we put in special education, Title VI-B funds for professional development. We were putting about $750,000 into our teachers. That's the investment in their professional development. That number's probably down about $150,000. Right? Currently. So probably around $600,000. Still impressive.
Human capital, we're appreciative of Christine Haydeck. I want to shout out for her. She does an incredible job. Our HR department really is Doug and myself and Christine, and she does a lot of work to make sure that what we are required to do, from tracking professional development for all of our teachers and getting that into the state for PTSD and recertification purposes, to making sure that contracts are put together, and all of the paperwork that goes into hiring goes through Christine. So we just want to say thank you to her and make sure that you recognize the job that she does for us. You can see that certified employees, we have 289. Support staff, we have 281. Some are part, some are full-time FTEs, and that's a total employees of 570, which is a pretty good-sized organization when you look at it. I think we're still the largest employer within the county. So, Uinta County School District #1, staff average years certified, we have right at 13.69. That's a really good average. When you consider that, over the first 5 years of the teachers in teaching, that almost 40% of them choose to go and do something else. Our percentage is more like 3 to 4% who leave, don't necessarily leave teaching, but leave our school for whatever reason within that first 5 years. Support staff, we have 8.3 years. That's a lot, and I think as the years continue on, that's going to just increase. And then our administrative staff has 19.6 years, and that is unheard of. Now, Superintendent Thomas, with his 4 or 5 years that he's been in the district, that's obviously going to drop that down a little bit for us because his average is built into that. But as you look at it, 19.6 years, when your typical principal may be at a building between 3.75 and 5 years, and your typical superintendent is generally about 3 years. So that's a pretty impressive number. It says something. When we talk about climate and we talk about culture, when you're looking at those kind of numbers, if people are really that upset with what's going on, we hope that they come forward. But that's a pretty good percentage, indicating that people want to be here when they arrive here, instead of it just being a starting place and then moving on. So something to think about. Other things that we've done with human capital, job descriptions, we continue to add our job descriptions. It's an ongoing process. Right now we're at 79. We received staff input with those who have had that job or continuing that job, trying to make sure if those particular job descriptions still represent what they are doing. We're also looking at our market analysis and making sure for our support staff especially, are we even in the ballpark? And I think we are, and I think after this year, it'll be even more so as we move forward. And then we're very proud of the training that our staff receives, not only certified, but also our support staff, the principals and the consultants that we bring in, support and work with especially our instructional staff, and the Jaren does a really nice job with custodial staff. The kitchen staff is very, very well trained. They know what needs to be done as they move forward, and our transportation is, I would say, as good as any as we look at our training and things like that. So, moving forward, we want to make sure Sherry does an incredible job at our district office. And we're fortunate to have her going to be side-by-side coaching for the next 3 months after helping Amy get into the routine of this. It's a big job, and we're thankful for your willingness to do that, Sherry. Thank you very much, and for all the work that you continue to do and have done for us.
Okay, I mean, I've got a part.
Continue to collect quick data, we talked about that earlier. Uplift the PLC process to ensure PLC right and lessen PLC light. Sometimes you get a little spread and we're hoping to continue to lift that up. And really lift up that the F10 instructional framework is what we're doing. We'll look at some recalibration, scoring with our principals early next year in August, and we'll have the F10 folks coming and working with our principals. Okay, we talked about the first bullet already. We continue to align to our prioritized standards. Update the essential standards. That'll happen in June. Again, any of you are welcome to come and join us. We'd love to have you there and just to see what those teachers are doing. And then our summer professional development opportunities. You can see we have math, we have ELA, writing, and interventions. We have certified instructional aides that will receive training in the summertime, assessment direct instruction, as well as proficiency skill development.
This is what was your favorite part of the awards assembly last night at EHS?
My
Other than
favorite?
your husband presenting, right? We're gonna get that out.
Y'all enjoy that.
My favorite part.
Yeah.
I just loved seeing all the kids and everything that they accomplished. I mean, it was amazing to me. And the smiles on their faces, and they just, were so happy and excited to receive those awards. I don't know, I enjoyed the whole evening. I thought it was great, but hopefully I'm not missing what should have been the most important. But
Was it, I just saw it with Jamie. If there was anybody else there, I'd share.
Well, and to see the success, one of the girls seemed to like clean up on everything, and I don't even remember her name.
Sophie?
Yes.
Sophia?
Yes.
And what's her last name? Carter. I actually had to text her.
Oh my word! Yeah, and
54
just
college credits. 54 college
incredible
credits.
in
Right?
her high school career, and so just to see all of their successes. There were some kids that maybe only got one award, but the common theme was there was a select group that really put forth the effort and just were extremely successful throughout their high school career. So that was just exciting to see.
Yeah, agreed. It was awesome. And that was the segue, right, that I was going to have you put forth there. Right? So watching that young lady, and you couldn't fit all of the kids on the stage that had 15 or more college credits earned. Right? So this transition, we try to meet what the community is asking us to do. And one of those things over the last 5 to 7 years, right, since I've kind of been in this position, has been this request for more and more college credit and dual enrollment. College credit, concurrent and credit, those are taught by our teachers. Right? Our teachers have a master's degree in that particular content. They can offer college credit through Western Wyoming. There are people, right, Western agrees to give our kids credit. Cool. Dual means they're taught by Western Wyoming Community College teachers. There are kids, and somebody's got to pay for that, right? That's not part of our traditional, what we offer. And so that's why that's the last thing on there is one of the things they did right in this legislative session was set aside $10 million to support dual credit offerings. And that's awesome, right? So currently we have 62 kids that are enrolled in the fall for just dual. That's not concurrent, that's just dual, right? I don't know how much that costs, but it's gonna be a lot of money, right? The BOCES, right, and so here's where the BOCES comes in. The BOCES, through the mill, used to spend most of that money to support CTE programs, because we didn't have a huge demand. for dual. But over the years, we've relied more heavily on Perkins to support the CDTE programs and asked the BOCES to put more and more money into the dual programs, right? And so now with this new legislation, that's what needs to be worked out, right? I had a great conversation with Marty at the, what do we call that, the Consolidated Grant meeting, right? And because nobody knows what this is gonna look like yet, but my request is that the BOCES continues to save that line item for us and continue to use that money. If it's not going towards dual and supporting dual, which I don't think it'll have to, then we still want that money to be supporting our CTE. That's what the grant says or that's what the mill says that's for. That's what we would like to do, is to continue to put more of that money into CTE. Jenny was fortunate enough to be at that incredibly amazing CTE spring meeting, right?
No, actually, I quite enjoyed it. I'd never been to one before, and Doug thought I was there just checking up on him or to keep him smiling.
right.
But I really did
Somebody's
enjoy watching the process of how that works.
Right, so here's what we ended up with. We were 40 grand over, right? So we had, each of the teachers talks about what they would like to have in their program to update it and continue to be relevant, giving kids real opportunities that set them up for success when they leave our high school. Well, when all of that math gets done, we're about 40 grand short from Perkins to be able to give the teachers what they need in their CTE programs to be successful. So that's what we're gonna talk to BOCES about, is how do we close that gap if they don't have to pay for, right, or continue to support the dual. Right? Any questions on that? Put a lot into that. There's a lot.
I just have one comment. You talk about BOCES in the mill.
Yeah.
That's why everyone that's here needs to vote in the fall to continue that mill. It's extremely incredible that happens.
For sure, absolutely. It's been a great partnership, right? I mean, I've pushed on them pretty hard at times, right? Because that's my job. I've got parents that want their kids to take more and more dual, and I don't have money to pay for it. I got to find somebody else that can. So I lean on other people to say, hey, can you help us out here a little bit more? But it's been great. It's been a great partnership. We went into this year with BOCES agreeing to pay for, I think, 50 students. Like I said, we're at 62 right now. So, you know what? We'll get it all. It's a reimbursement that nobody knows what that's going to be. So, we'll be good.
What areas are we hoping to grow the concurrent enrollment programs?
Math,
in terms of subjects.
Right, so math, if we were able to offer math 1400 on site, we're doing it this year at a huge investment to us in that students are signing up for the online college algebra, and we have a math teacher that's not assigned, right, isn't teaching a regular class during that time. That person is assigned to those students that are doing the online math. So they actually have two teachers. They have the Western one and they have ours. And because online algebra sucks, right?
Yeah.
So math would be one, and science. If we could offer biology 10-10, 10-20, that would be huge. We would be that much closer to being able to offer an associate's for students when they graduate from high school.
Sounds like that young lady's only got 8 credits away from us.
She's close.
Yeah.
She's close. But you have to be willing to
do it.
We don't have an on-site, right? So we have the BOCES, but they don't have on-site biology classes there, right? So it's all online. Some of those classes are hard. Biology is one of the most failed classes in college campuses to begin with. Then you try to do it virtually, right? Online, do an online lab, right? It's tough. So those are the two areas. If we had those two, we'd be in really good shape.
Moving forward, as we look at our frontline implementation, this year we really looked at absence management and digitize a lot of what we're doing with subs and those kinds of things. So that's something that we're getting better at and moving forward with. We continue to look at our hiring and retention aspect of that and getting better at looking at data and information that is there, as well as our professional growth side. Again, we continue to emphasize the professional development for all staff and how important that is, not only the instructional staff, but all, especially when you look at grounds and maintenance around safety and things that they're going to be looking towards and learning, and then continue to increase work-based learning opportunities that connect our students with local employees. Do you want to add anything to that?
Nope, just what it says.
We just want to say thanks to our teachers. They're incredible. Our support staff in all areas and departments. We really appreciate the principals and the work that they do. They continue to move forward the great work that we are seeing and the learning that is happening for our kids across the district. So thank you to all. It's been a privilege to work with Doug over the last 10 years. It's hard to imagine it's been 10 years as we work through that. I've learned a great deal from him. We sit down together and do a lot of joint planning. It's been a really kind of a seamless process as we've gone through that. And we wish him the very best.
Yes.
So, thanks. Any questions that any of you have for us?
Yeah, I have one. On the human capital, there's Christine and you two guys. So who are going to replace the two of you with Christine?
Matt will do that director K-5 piece as well as the HR side of that.
Yeah.
And Scott Kohler will do.
Well, Scott will do.
612.
Okay.
And in some cases, you share it across.
Sure.
I mean, it depends on who might be there, who gets the call from the kitchen, who gets the call from transportation, depends on who may be in the office at that moment in time when the call comes in. So we kind of divide things up.
Great.
Good question.
Oh, go ahead.
Going back to K-5 curriculum, we've been using CKLA for, what, 7, going on 8 years?
6
right?
years.
6 years. So my understanding is the lifespan, for lack of a better word, of a curriculum is 7 to 8 years before it's time to do a pretty, bigger overhaul. Do we have plans to pilot some new curriculums in the next little
Currently,
bit?
I'm waiting to see what comes out of the state. When you have a program that is evidence-based and meets the requirements that's coming out of the state with that K-12 law, as well as coming in next year with all the changes that we're having, looking at that as an addition, might be beneficial to look at. They have a third edition, which is a really good edition of CKLA. What happens is you replace that resource, you also replace all the work that goes around that. And with the unit planning and some of the proficiency scale work that we're going to be doing. But it is something that we're looking at. I'm not sure that that's going to be something we're going to jump on in the fall. It is something that we're looking at towards the spring as an opportunity.
Okay.
Very good question.
Is that the model, though, that we usually do, like a pilot program in a few classrooms to test different
We have
curriculums?
done that. What we do usually is we start with really a guidance group. And we bring as many teachers who would like to be part of that. We go through the good research as to what goes into a good ELA program or math program or whatever we happen to be looking at. So we look at the research. We then put together a guidance document to guide the process of how we begin to move forward with the set curriculums that we may be looking at as an alternative to what we're currently using. We piloted 2 really different programs the last time. We piloted the National Geographic program, which doesn't exist anymore, and the CKLA program. So there were 2 really very different programs, but we piloted them, moved that forward. Actually, we piloted them in classrooms across a year. So it is an extensive period of time before you move forward, at least the way that we do the process. Some districts still do it this way. You have a group together and you say, we're going to do these 6 publishers. They bring them out and they put them on display. The teachers come through and they kind of evaluate the program and then they vote on which one has the nicest process.
No, I agree. I think piloting is going to give us the best feedback, which is why we should, we think we would want to start that process so we can get some data over a year or 2 years. And what about math? Where are we with math for K-5 too?
The Eureka Math has what's called Eureka Squared, which is a really good program. It's a condensed program with the same math that we were doing. They have another edition of that And again, we're kind of looking at what would be the best alternative as we begin to move forward with the least amount of maybe disruption in student learning as we begin. But it is something that
Okay, on a similar timeline to,
we probably don't want to do
CPL.
both of those major
Yeah.
curricular resource areas at the same year. So it'd be something that would probably be better to look at math initially. For some reason, it seems to be maybe very well concise as we move forward. But ELA is pretty comprehensive. Math as well. Thank you. Good questions.
I've got a question really quick. On the last slide, it talked about work-based learning. What aspects of that would students see directly?
So, for example, we have over 40 students right now that are in Trudy Holt's early childhood classes that are currently either working at UCSD or in classrooms across the district. That's an example. I believe, Brian, did you have a student that came out and worked with you? That was an example. We have students that are working at Union Tank, right, that are part of the welding program. We have students at Bear River Vet Clinic that are part of workplace learning opportunities. So you see that mostly through our CTE programs. And what it looks like is in the early level classes, freshman and sophomore classes, it's more, can we have a guest speaker come in? What can we do to kind of introduce people to this? And then as we get into juniors and seniors, we want students, right, our people, to start going out and experiencing those in short to intermediate time frames.
What are you looking at doing to further that? Like what would furthering that? What is
Finding more partners, right? The biggest issue that we have is that we have a large number of students and we have a fairly small community, and it's hard to get everybody placed. That would be the biggest challenge. But I work with economic development. I don't know how many times I've talked to the economic, every time I get a chance to speak, that's one of the things I'm asking for.
Yep.
Hey, we need more help. We need local businesses to partner with us. We need opportunities to get our kids out into the community and working in some of these jobs.
There's also the internship program through Horizon, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're basically the same things. Yep, you're welcome. It's a great question.
Finally, we'd like to thank the board for your support and the work that we've done and continue to do. And order to continue.
Thank you. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you.
Now seems like a good breaking point. So I need to excuse myself. I have got some family commitments that I need to get to at 7 o'clock. So Mrs. Welling will take over the remainder of this meeting today. So
Thank you, Chairman Peterson.
Dave, have a good night.
thank you.
Say hi to your family for us.
Huh?
Say hi to your family
I
for
will
us.
say hi to my family.
Madam Vice Chair, would you like me to move forward?
All right, so our discussion items, we'll start with A, budget update and budget message.
Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, we're very confident where we are with our budget. It has been different. The silos put a different twist on all of this, the funding that we received, the changes in FTEs, and just some unknowns. We are still getting direction from the AG's office on current legislation. We're comfortable with, as we prepare to do meet and confer and solidify salaries and benefits for our staff, we're very comfortable where we are and excited for the opportunities. It's kind of speaking out of both sides of my mouth, because we're also still very concerned about what was done in the legislative session and how that will impact us really next year moving forward. One of the things that is a hot topic right now is activities. And if you've read the Cowboy State Daily, kind of what's happening out there is, as school districts have gone through this budgeting process, us included, from the very beginning, I told you that we were cut $300,000. We overspent our budget by another $300,000 last year, so that's a cut of $600,000 for us, which is significant, over 8% in that budget. That is what's happening statewide. And what I would like to do, for several reasons. Number one is softball has approached us, and girls softball is something that we've been asked to look at. And we gave some, not excuses, some reasons why we can't do that at this point. So I'd like to review quickly what Wyoming High School Activities Association has put together, as they are looking at a reduction from $46.3 million to a $42.4 million, which is an 8.4 reduction statewide. Additionally, the restructuring limits district's flexibility by restricting access to a $76 million budget that we used to have access to, which we don't anymore. The immediate impacts, and this is kind of critical, most districts are looking at some forms of reductions and cuts. Most districts indicate they will rely on cash carryover funds to support activities and athletics during the 26-27 school year. We are fortunate we don't have to dip into reserves. We are one of the districts that came out of this as a winner in terms of the RCA, really put us in a position. The additional spending for instructional services will help us for salaries and benefits, but the changes that allow us to do this for our operational budgets were kind of hidden in all this works. That was the change to middle school specials. We got some additional funding for that. We got additional funding for our elementary counselors, which we're already paying for, but they fund us now, so some additional funding there. And again, the RCA was very, very big for us. But those are all unknowns next year in the budget cycle. They could change the RCA, which they're talking about adjusting, and we could be one of the losers. So we need to keep attention on what was done in the legislative session as we move forward. So again, back to activities. This is what they met on May 8th in Casper and discussed this. The WASA board discussed a range of potential strategies to help balancing rising costs, and these are what they put together. Culminate events, eliminate regional tournaments, eliminate consolation games, limit number of teams qualifying for state events from 8 to 4. In other words, cut them in half. Limit number of individuals participating to 2 classes of wrestling, top 16 marks, and track and field. Regular season events, eliminate regular season tournaments, reduce contests, so the number of opportunities our kids would have to participate. Program cuts based on number of schools and students participating. These are what is being discussed statewide that they'll have to reduce. And these are, I just can't imagine. And we're not in that boat, but I still think you need to realize where we are and what's coming our direction. So these are the events they're talking about doing away with. Soccer, indoor track and field, Nordic skiing, which we don't have, alpine skiing, which we don't have, swimming and diving, spring golf, and spring tennis. So not all of those we offer, but some districts offer more than we do. It's also out there that at least 2 school districts will drop softball, which means they drop to 8 teams. If they get to 6, they do away with it altogether. That's why Nordic skiing and alpine skiing, there's no longer 6 schools that do it. Activities. This is speech and debate, 12 to 6, cut from 12 to 6 events. Limit 6 speech and debate workshop events. All workshop events to be 1 day, no overnight stays. Centrally locate all state music, which means Casper gets everything again. Eliminate participating in national events for those kids who qualify, which would be a shame. And that's what this is in. Student Council, NSDA, National Qualifying Speech Tournament, All Northwest Music, Washington Leadership Institute, Mid-American Conference, FCCLA, National Leadership Institute, FCLA Chapter Advisor Summit, FBLA, National Fall Leadership Conference, FFA, and Skills USA, eliminate overnight travel. Recommendations to schools. Limit number of teams, varsity JV and C teams, or varsity JV, which you guys know that was one of the hot buttons for us. We already did that. When our budgets got tight, we eliminated some teams. Use fewer officials. And as an official, good luck. Set limits on the number of players on a team. We already do that, but are they going to reduce the number even further? No funding for national travel. Contests should be played on Friday and Saturday to minimize substitute teacher costs. Districts, you cannot get all the substitutes necessary on a Friday and a Saturday. You have to spread them across the week. And implement and increase the student participation fee of up to $400 per student. We have 58% free introduced lunch. That would limit our number of students participating in activities K-12 significantly. The reason why I even bring this up, because I just told you, we're not looking at these cuts. But guess what? If they do away with the event that we have been going to for years, our kids don't get them. The kids will lose those activities and those events. If they cut state tournaments from 8 to 4, we're, the 14th largest school? We may not ever make it to state again. Our big events for our communities are regionals, and they're talking about doing away with regionals. Those are things that will, even though it doesn't directly impact our funding, it will impact our kids' opportunities significantly. To see that the legislature claimed that they didn't know they were doing this is just not honest, because every school that I met with, the community I met with, I gave a sheet that showed the reduction in activities from the start. When they cut class size, they cut those multipliers for activities. And that's what has to be fixed next year, in my point. The reason why I say that is because we had to take the position that we can't offer girls softball right now. In the future, maybe. I did send a letter of response to all those individuals that came forward. We sent them to their addresses they gave. Some of them came back undelivered, so we're still trying to find those. But I'd like to read it. If you remember how the board works, public comment, typically you don't respond to. That gives you 30 days to respond. This is the response that I sent to you guys about girls softball. UNT County School District Number 1, Board of Trustees and District Administration, dear students, parents, and community members, we sincerely appreciate the interest, advocacy, and positive engagement shown regarding the addition of girls softball at Evanston High School. The respectful and constructive manner in which this topic has been approached reflects the strength of our school community and its commitment to expanding opportunities for students. After careful consideration, the Board of Trustees and District Administration regret to inform you that girls softball will not be added for the 26-27 school year. This decision was not made lightly and is primarily driven by significant financial constraints facing the district. For the upcoming school year, the district operational budgets have been substantially reduced, including a loss of approximately $500,000 from the activities budget. Additionally, the new funding silo has limited the district's flexibility in allocating resources to new programs and operational budgets. Beyond financial consideration, there remain several important questions that must be addressed before adding a new sport. These include the availability and development of appropriate softball facilities on the high school campus, the absence of a strong feeder system to support a sustainable fast-pitch program, uncertainties regarding consistent student participation numbers, and challenges related to weather conditions during the softball season. While these factors prevent implementation at this time, we want it to be clear that the interest in girls softball has been heard and is valued. The board and administration is committed to continuing to explore future possibilities should operational funding improve, participation levels increase, and the necessary infrastructure and program support be established. The district would welcome the opportunity to revisit the addition of girls softball. We are grateful for the passion and advocacy demonstrated by our students, families, and community members. Your efforts contribute meaningfully to the ongoing conversations about how we can best serve our students. Sincerely, Dave Peterson, Board Chairman, and Ryan Thomas, Superintendent. So that's the response we gave. I guess we got some bad press on social media that we made excuses. There are reasons why we couldn't have girls softball. They're not excuses. So with that, I think we're in a good budget position, but we need to be wary as we move forward. we wait patiently for the lawsuit. And we'll talk about meet and confer here in a minute. But that was kind of the budget presentation. John's budget narrative, budget message is in narrative form. It's very well done, very clear in terms of where we sit financially. He's provided charts and graphs for you that explain changes from previous year. We are looking at an increase to our carryover. Remember, because we get reimbursed those buses that we purchased. That's a one-time expense that we cannot budget for this year. But that will help us move our carryover up. So with that, any questions for John or I in terms of the budget message and where we are with the budget?
Trust you.
All right, we will move on to item B, Evanston Parks and Recreation Center Operation Agreement.
Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, the operating agreement hasn't changed. It's the same as it's been for several years. If you recall, this is being presented now, so you can look over it if you have any questions. This will be approved next month. I recommend that you approve it. It's been a good partnership, and there's some things we'll continue to work on, but it's been a good partnership.
I have a question. Will the costs compared to this year, compared to next year, will there be an increase to the school district and overall cost and its obligation to this agreement?
None at all. And I have to be careful with that. Remember, this is a flow-through mill. We assess the mill, but it flows through us. And its assessed valuation is down, so the money that goes to the rec center will be down about $240,000. That's the total, I think, now. We don't supplement that with anything. That's what they get. We have a partnership that allows them to use our facilities. We use some of their facilities. We charge a very small usage fee, and we'll talk about that later in the policies. So there won't be any additional cost to the district. Again, you never know how that's going to impact us, but this is truly just the use of that mill, which its intent is for community recreation programs for youth.
Any other questions? Okay, year-end activities calendar.
We have provided a calendar. There's a lot of stuff going on, as you can imagine, and so we have provided that for you. Please take a look at it. Some big events coming for you to be aware of. Of course, Meet and Confer is Wednesday the 20th at 5:30. 2 board members have volunteered. We do have room for 4, and again, the room for 4 is if you have 5, that's a majority, and it has to be a regular board meeting. So 4 is the max. Janice and Chairman Peterson would like to be on it. Anyone else like to serve on that?
Yes.
I can.
Okay, you two, that's good? Okay, so we got John and Jessica. So we start at 5:30. We usually have a light dinner, and then we jump right into it. The other board members to hand out diplomas at Horizon on Friday night, that's the 29th, and EHS on Saturday the 30th. Any takers for Horizon, Friday night? Great opportunity. If you haven't done it, I encourage you to do it. It's really pretty cool. Best thing I think you do as a board member, and what I do as an administrator. Anybody make high school graduation?
I need to be
David?
there. I got a granddaughter getting out.
Great. Getting out.
Getting out?
Getting out, yeah. That's what I call it. It's getting out.
Anyone else?
There was one other person that I thought that had, besides Dave.
Jerry, you remember anyone else volunteered? Did Dave,
I had
you
a
know?
family member.
Oh.
I
We'll put
talked to
David down.
Scott about
The Davids
this.
will show up.
All right.
Well, I talked to Scott about it. Who was the other one? Okay. So I told Scott I could do it because I do
Okay.
have a niece and nephew graduating, but I don't have to if there's someone else that would rather. for a family.
3's great.
Yeah, it's plenty.
And if David Peterson can't make it,
Three's
it's you,
good.
Jenny. So. Okay?
Two can handle it easy.
Yep, okay.
Been there, done that.
And anybody, Friday night, it goes really fast, about 50 minutes for Horizon. And I'll be there, so we're covered.
What's the date?
Friday, the 29th.
Okay, I can do it.
Okay. Thank you, Jenny. Okay. Just some other, I think we have them down at the bottom, but just some other dates of interest. Monday, we're having an open house. It's Monday, right? The 18th, for all those retiring. So you're welcome to come from
3:30 to,
just the office, yeah. So 3:30 to 5:30, thank you. It's just the 5 individuals retiring from this office. They're just having like a little open house, so you're welcome to come.
Is that time, what, like a couple hours or what?
Yeah, 3:30 to 5:30.
So it's just meet and greet.
Drop in and say howdy or not say howdy, whatever you
That
want to
many of
say.
them, I'd like to just drop in and say.
Yeah. And then, the retirement dinner is May 21st at 6 PM. It's a big group this year, so you may want to attend. You're welcome to bring your spouse, and we just kind of review and congratulate the retirees. It's a nice, we do it in here, and we'd love to have as many, well, we'd love to have 4 of you. Actually-
Sherry, I'll be there.
Okay. Then let us know if you could be there for that retirement dinner.
Sherry, you have my yep, okay.
And that's really all the end of the year stuff I've got.
All right, so item D, first reading policy revisions and additions.
Madam Vice Chair, I put a little cheat sheet together because there is a lot of them. So to help you kind of organize them and take notes if you want to. The reason why there's so many is because there is a deadline of June 1st for some of these based on the legislative session. They passed a law that we have to do some of these before, like I said, July 1st. So I just kind of went through all of them, put them together, and this is where we are. So I'll put them up here for us. If you notice, there's really 3 types of policy additions. One is a brand-new policy. And I know you probably can't read that, but you can see what the green is what has been added. So this first policy, EHA, is technology uses in student data privacy and security. This is one that we've had in place for a long time, but these are just either updated by statute or updates that we've needed to have. So this is just an updated policy. I did put major because it is something that has to be done by July 1. It's up to you guys if you want me to go through the changes. They're very, very, I guess, straightforward. They're not like we had the ability not to add them. The legislature add them for us. The idea of student privacy, it makes sense that as technology continues to expand, we need to make sure we protect our students' privacy and also our employees' privacy. Do you want me to go through the changes or updates? They're not really changes. Changes, deletions would show in red with a line through it. Green is updates. Blue is Jeff's review of the policy. And so you can see Jeff went through this and did not make any changes. You want me to go on? Yes. Okay. If I can remember how to get out of this now. That's not where I wanted to go. Okay, the next one is JFCK, Student Cell Phone Usage Policy. This was one that was, if you recall, we jumped ahead and did this last year and really it's not a gamble, we just felt pretty serious that we needed to limit the use of cell phones. Well, the state passed a policy, or passed a statute this year that requires all school districts to have a policy. Doesn't mean you have to say no cell phones, or you can use all cell phones you want, you just have to have a policy. So this one, if you notice on the cheat sheet, is just a review. There is no change. So what I will do is just update the review date. And then we're required by statute to send it to the Wyoming Department of Ed, just to show that we have a policy. So no changes to that policy. JHCD, this is, again, very similar. This is a review. I sent this to our nurses. They went through it. I actually sent them a draft policy from Wyoming School Boards. They like our policy better, and everything in it is contained in our policy, so they made no recommendations for any changes. So I'll do the same thing, is I'll update the review date on the policy, and again, when we're audited, it'll show that we reviewed the policy as required by statute. We do have a very good policy book. And our nurses are exceptional, by the way, so they do good work. EHAA, I'm going to go to EHAA2. Actually, let me see if I can.
What about the media consent and waiver form?
Did I miss one?
EHA or E3?
Yeah, I'll come back to those because they're kind of linked. The one that this sits on is really linked to EHA, but what EHAA2 is, and you actually have to go to, since this is an exhibit, you have to go to the link and click on the link. You won't see any of the updated stuff on our policy handbook because it's an exhibit. It has to be sent in as a PDF. So if you look at this one, it has been significantly updated. I'll just say that. Jeff has gone through this too, and his updates don't show up on this. I have another updated copy. Bottom line, to make sure that we're in line with current statute and that we are protecting all aspects of our student use agreement. And at the bottom of this is our parent and guardian acknowledgement. Our students sign an internet use agreement, and our parents sign an internet use agreement. So this will be roughly a totally updated policy about technology use.
And I know that this policy refers a lot to AI.
Yes.
Which I know, what's the expected timeline to get the AI policy completed?
It's actually here too.
I mean, to get it completed and approved.
It's IHAK. It'll be approved in second reading in June, if you approve first reading today.
Correct.
That one's coming. Yeah, we do not currently have a policy with AI. Jaron and I started working on that. I sent him a draft policy months ago before the legislative session was really wound up because we needed a policy on AI. There's so many things coming and so fast. And so the draft policy I found was Wyoming School Boards. There's another one. I think John says you've got one that you'd like to look at and add some things. But let's get to that. Any questions about EHAA Exhibit 2?
No.
Okay, EHAA, technology use. This is simply a form. And the only thing that was changed was we added social media.
Does it need to be in more detail to define what social media is? You know, Instagram, Facebook, something like that?
It always could, but sometimes it's better to leave in general, because if you start going specific and you miss one,
Yeah, okay.
it allows us to be flexible. And again, this is a media consent and waiver form. Bottom line, if we're going to film a student, we need to get these signed. And that's part of our FERPA commitments too. This has been in place, again, I don't know why it was important to add social media, but apparently someone in the state felt it was. So this is one of those things that we've had to add.
So I've just got one more question.
Yes,
if I
please.
could. I know when I go to the website and I see a lot of photos of our children, students on the website, do we have permission to put that on those public, you know what I mean?
Yes.
The school district?
So what we do is we send out our FERPA notification in the summer. It goes in the newspaper and we post it on our website. And with FERPA, that's confidentiality and the rights of individuals. If they don't want their image, likeness, even their grade reports, honor roll, they just have to sign off that they don't want those used and we won't use them. So it is a passive acceptance, but the one that you're looking at, this media consent form, goes beyond that. If you're going to use a student in a video, not just in the background in a picture, you need to get more consent than the FERPA consent. And we have had individuals that said, I don't want my son or daughter's image
Anywhere.
public. And you can, there's reasons for that. And so we honor that. It's not always easy to do, but we honor it. Because our teachers do want to recognize their students. Okay. So if you notice on the cheat sheet, I just put updated. It's a minor change, very minor, but it needed to be added. So let's see, KG, community use of school facilities. This is a lot to do about, well, it got really scary in the legislative session. Bottom line, there was a group in Cheyenne that wanted to use school facilities for free anytime they wanted. And it happened to be a community group that used the pools. And the use of pools in our district is very, very restricted because of the liability issue. We allow, well, it's not YDAT anymore, I'm not sure what they call it, high octane swimming, whatever. We allow them to use it, but they have very strict guidelines through the rec center, and they have the liability insurance there. So if you look down through here, I thought we were going to lose our ability to charge facility use fee. But if you look at the new language that the statute came out, is we were already within that spectrum. Bottom line, if someone uses our facility and we charge them, they have a right to request an itemized copy, and we only can charge them actual costs. Well, when you're talking about a facility like the high school where we use the gym and the auditorium, actual cost is hard to figure when you talk about utilities, restroom issues, custodial,
staff, yeah.
all that. But we've already broken that out in our policy. So it's all broken out by an hourly rate. We're very, very reasonable. You can use the auditorium for $500 a day. The cost of that alone is much more than that $500.
Yeah, that's it.
But, so we're within the law. You can see the green part here. We added this because the Evanston Rec Center is a good partner with us. What we allow the rec center to do is they have these traveling teams. We no longer schedule traveling teams, the rec center does, and we charge a very limited fee for them to do that. The reason why we do that is the rec center has liability insurance. So now these traveling teams do not have to get their own liability insurance, they use the rec centers, but they have to pay a rec center fee. We, in return, charge the rec center a fee, and it is, if you remember, it is minimal. But it is a fee that we're trying to recuperate some of those mill monies. And that's part of the agreement that you'll approve next month. It's been a good partnership. I think it's worked well. The nice thing is, if it comes from the rec center, I just automatically approve it. Now, if the rec center has a, let's just use wrestling. They have a wrestling tournament on a Saturday. That is not within our agreement. That's outside the agreement. And we just charge the regular fee for that Saturday use because of the expense to the school district. But it is extremely reasonably priced. I think it's, a custodian has to be there because of life safety. Someone has to monitor the life safety systems. So at least a custodian for the whole length of that. And then they clean up. But anyway, it's worked out well. I hope it's worked out well. I haven't heard the complaints that I have in the past. Our domes are continually used, which is what we wanted, by these traveling teams. I don't think there is a night that the turf dome isn't used. Baseball, softball, soccer.
Is there someone that makes the rounds and locks those up? 'Cause
Yes.
the other night, must have been like 9:30 or something, one of them was wide open.
They're supposed to. The custodian that locks the building down should make the trip out there and lock them down. That's usually 10:30.
Okay, that's what I was,
That's the downside to those facilities that are not attached.
yeah. Right,
Because I've gone there and they've been open too. So
so there's no.
if the light ons, you can,
Yeah.
you can tell because they glow. But that's, again, I know Scott deals with that and takes pride in those facilities. So that's why we put cameras in there, just in case someone gets in there when they're not supposed to be in there. It'd be the same as the whole school. If a custodian doesn't check every door, the last person that left the door open, the school's open all night. So, and I don't like getting those calls from the police officers at 2:30 in the morning that say, the high school door is wide open.
Been there.
Yeah, you have. You've got them too, I'm sure. So anyway, any questions about facility use? Again, policy work we did and the work with the rec center, because anyone can use our facility, they just have to hit our policy. Our policy is very good. It cannot be for profit, so we don't have to worry about someone making money in our auditorium. It has to be a community event. They have to have insurance, and they pay a reasonable fee. And it's been a really good policy. So, anyway, moving on. Student absences and excuses, you can see that this one is also just some minor changes. Really what this deals is with the law change. It's not a law change, it's just an emphasis that to the end, parents and guardians are expected to ensure that their children attend school regularly and comply with applicable attendance requirements. The district schools shall be equally free and accessible to eligible children attending school on a full-time and part-time basis, subject to applicable law and regulations of the Board of Trustees. This is an outreach of the homeschool and private school, charter school work that has been done. The policy, most of the policy changes you see add the words full-time, part-time. And we've always done that. We've allowed homeschool kids into our schools forever. If you listen to the legislation this year, it's more of an emphasis on younger grades. Typically, the homeschool kids that use our facilities or use our programs are activities, music, but now they're really pushing this down to the elementary where you can come in for music or PE every other day or whatever. So they really have increased the rights of those homeschool kids into our facilities. And we've never had a problem with that. If it becomes a problem, then we'll deal with it then. Any questions? We still have a huge emphasis on attendance. Okay. IGD, co-curricular and interscholastic activities, it's the same language. Bottom line, students participating in activities governed by Wyoming High School shall also satisfy any applicable statutory amateur status requirement. This deals with the new statute that students in high school have to be amateur athletes. They can't be paid for NIL. I think this was one of the good things that came out of that. We want them to be amateurs. So that's why that was added to that policy. Any questions? Keep going then, right? Okay. JEA, compulsory attendance ages. This is the one that just adds the same language. Nothing in this policy shall be interpreted to prohibit attendance on a part-time basis where permitted by law and district regulations. That's right out of statute. Graduation requirements. This one makes me a little nervous. When the state starts making changes that impacts our graduation policy, it makes me nervous. And the high school is going to have to pay attention to this because there are some differences. I put IKF together, I don't know how many years ago, and it really hasn't been modified a great deal since then, when I was in the high school, so 2024 or something. But what is changed now is just the opportunity for kids to get additional credits. You just heard we had a student with 54 college credits. Well, how all that works together has to be lined out. So my guess is the high school's going to have to look at this. This one has to be in place by 7/1. No, I think we have a year to do this. But this starts out with statutory language, and the high school can work through it and make changes that they feel is necessary. But this is the statutory language. They are going to have to be able to define this. Where they typically define this would be in their course description book. They give those every year, and that's really the procedure part of policy. And that book is very valuable, and so they'll have to do some work. But it makes me nervous when the state starts manipulating our graduation requirements. But these are pretty good. I don't see any Jeff additions, so he must have been okay with them. IHAK is a brand new policy, and if you notice, I do think this one didn't format the right way. We'll have to do some work on it, but I thought Jeff had made some changes. It looks kind of funny the way it didn't format. We're still figuring out assembly. And John, I think you said you had some recommendations?
I do. Kind of where I put it. Yes, it was, one it was regarding with making additions as it applies to a compliance with sensitive or pornographic material laws. That's not in the AI policy. There's another school district that put that in there. That's one. And then that students who do present AI-generated content, that they identify what is content they got from AI and then what's their original work.
And I've seen that in one of our other policies that's a crosswalk, but it's not in this one, so I think it's good we put it in this one too.
Yeah, and then there was one other. I actually sent it from my work email to
Jaron?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I sent
If you
three of
want-
them to him.
Okay. Will you send those to me too, and I'll get them in here?
Will do.
Okay. I think it's a pretty straightforward policy. Like I said, Wyoming school boards, it doesn't look like this normally. Sorry, but it just formatted weird. Any questions about that? We do not have an AI policy, so we felt we needed to put one in place. So we have time to make changes as we see fit.
When does this have to be in place?
I think this was our choice.
Okay.
We were told we had to have one, but it's our choice, so I think what the plan would be is to put it in place to see if it works.
Yeah.
And, because we're going to learn a lot about AI coming up. The bad side and the good side, right?
Yeah.
EEAG, this is a specialized one from, and if you notice, you can see here, there's actually EEAG E1, which is reimbursement for parental travel. It's a form, and EEAG E2, maybe that's the form, but the other one, I'll just show you what they look like. This is something that sharing with Matt, we do not have in place. In other words, if you have a student that has an IEP and you are required to attend a meeting in Casper, you can seek reimbursement. So that's all this does, required by federal law. So this is a compliance document. This is straight from Wyoming school boards. And so is the exhibits that are with them. PDF on that. Oh, this, like I said, is a PDF, so the only way you can get the PDFs, let's see if I can get there. Yeah, this not gonna show it, but these are, how do I get there? So I'm pretty sure this one won't be here either. Yeah, I can, thank you.
Yeah, they're just lower on our page. Ryan.
What's that?
They're just lower. There's a
Oh, are
blank
they really?
page. They're a blank page. If you scroll down, it's the second page on there shows up.
Scroll down.
Oh, there they are. That's crazy. So they are just forms to use that Matt will have in place in his handbook for reimbursement. Pretty straightforward. Something we've had in the past, we just have always provided reimbursement. If you have a student in C-Bar-V and you go pick them up, we'll reimburse you for the travel. So that is it. That's a lot. There are 8 to approve, 12 on the list, because 2 of them you don't need to approve because there are no changes. I'll just update them. Again, what I'll do is clean these up and put them back in assembly so you have all month to look at them before they're approved in June at second reading. We do have another one coming, I think I put it at the bottom of the list, is IHBI, which is another one dealing with special education. That is required by the federal government. But we weren't quite ready for that one, so it'll come first reading in June, second reading in July. Any questions? Thank you for your patience on those. Okay.
Are there any public comments?
Moving on.
Okay, apparently we do have public comments right now.
Brett Francis, 603 Twin Ridge Avenue, Evanston, Wyoming. Madam Vice Chair, members of the board. Did I say that? I said that right?
You did. Yeah.
Okay.
You did pretty good.
I wanted to make you aware of something that maybe would have flown under the radar a little bit, but I thought was really cool. Today, the high school hosted a student council conference for all the elementary schools and middle schools. And they brought us all the kids up there, learned leadership skills, got them excited about the high school, I think, and all these different activities and things that they could do. Brand new thing that they've done. I think created a great partnership between schools, a great opportunity for kids. So I just want to thank the high school for doing that and hope it continues in the future. But that's everything for me. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comments? Dave asked me to read this, and it's in regards to Donna Bruce and Ryan Thomas. And it says, WHSAA Board and Commissioner Wilson, I am requesting consideration of gold cards for 2 of my longtime team members. I am sad to say both are retiring after over 25 years as employees of Uintah County School District Number 1 and tremendous supporters of Wyoming high school activities. Donna Bruce and Ryan Thomas have decided to hang up their sneakers and megaphones for their rocking chairs. Our community and our state will be losing tremendous fans, as well as people who have worked not only for Evanston, but also for the kids of Wyoming. Superintendent Thomas has been a coach, teacher, principal, superintendent, and football and basketball official for well over 30 years, all in Wyoming. Ryan had 4 kids who participated in WHSAA activities and had traveled throughout the state, not only working for Evanston kids, but for all kids. Ryan has been a varsity football official, officiating games for all schools in southwest Wyoming from 1A 6-man to 4A and everything in between. Mr. Thomas is a class act who has done the work worthy of recognition. Donna Bruce needs nothing said about her and her service to our activity community from border to border. She has served as the activities assistant, and some would say the director of activities, for 26 years, nearly as long as an official at all levels of volleyball. I could write a book on everything Donna has done for Evanston and our state, as she is the MVP of my world. We talk about people who are the face of an organization. Well, Donna is the happiest, friendliest, and most passionate face of our organization. There has been none more deserving of this honor than Donna Bruce. I hope you consider both of these deserving individuals for the honor of holding a WHSAA Gold Card. Donna and Ryan are superstars who I believe are worthy. And that's from Bubba O'Neill. So we would like to present you with a lifetime Gold Card pass. So if Ryan can come up here, I don't think Donna's here.
I just used that to her yesterday with her granddaughter.
Oh, okay.
So cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
State, regional.
All right, any other public comments? All right, moving on to our action items. A is personnel.
Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, we do have 2 resignations that I recommend that you approve.
Okay.
We'll do those 2. We'll do them one at a time. We'll do those separate, the resignations first.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve the resignations.
So moved.
Okay, a second.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any discussion?
Who was it?
Yeah. Camille Sturgis from the high school, she's in Horizon, she's an ELA teacher, and Logan Downs, 4th grade teacher. We kind of knew we'd lose Logan, he's from Cokeville. Yeah, he's going back to Cokeville.
Yeah, okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, any contracts or the?
Yes, we
just the
recommend that you approve the contracts. I'm going to read their names, and you don't need to put them in there, but more importantly, what they're doing. Kayla Young is the strings teacher. Dustin Blair is the director of special education, replacing Matt. Mandy Flake is a kindergarten teacher. Candace Francis is speech language pathologist assistant. Sydney Hansen, speech language pathologist assistant. Celeste Hatch is instructional assessment facilitator. Nicole Robinette is dean of students at the high school. Tyler Hume is math teacher at the high school. Rebecca Cook is 2nd grade teacher at Aspen Elementary.
Okay,
I still think we have a couple positions to fill, but this keeps us moving forward.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the contracts as read. Okay, a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, or any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, item B, approve changes, additions, and draft policies on first reading. So, item A, EHA.
I recommend you approve them all in one shot.
Oh, okay, not individually?
No.
Motion to approve the changes as agreed.
Second.
Second that motion.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Perfect. Thank you for doing it that way. All right, and so that's it. We have board roundtable?
Yep.
Yeah, I do. I have a comment. We have come to a conclusion and have gotten acceptance for all of the Evanston Hall of Fame inductees for this year. So I would like to read them and a little bit of information about them. We have the 98-99 Boys State Championship golf team. We have a gentleman by the name of Charles Alexander, who graduated in 1947. And that, obviously, that will be a posthumous award.
Oh, he's not kicking.
No. And we have another posthumous award, a gentleman by the name of Paul Mills. We have a gentleman by the name of Mike Sundberg, who was a 1961 graduate, who was very interesting in the fact that he graduated from high school, went to work for the Union Pacific Railroad, and through the years ended up with an engineering degree, and then ended up with an engineering degree from MIT. He was the supervisor of all the engineers, not the engineers on the trains, but the engineers on the construction projects. We have a gentleman by the name of Jason Pruitt, who was a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy and became a pilot and retired. Clyde Caswell.
Class of 2000, wasn't he?
No, I think it was
2019.
Yeah, I think it was 19, yeah.
Yeah.
And a gentleman by the name of Clay Caswell, who was an outstanding athlete and a track star on the upper level. Met his wife recently, has 7 children. Not just sure that they will make the homecoming parade because son is playing high school football, but will be here for the banquet. Jamie Bounce, who was a outstanding track star here at Evanston High School and then went on to Washington State. And the last one is a gentleman by the name of Rob Wallace, who went through the 10th grade here, and then family tradition, he went to New Mexico Military Institute, but worked for, no, I hate this when you can't think of some things, but ended up working for the Department of Interior in Jackson. He worked in the Trump administration in the first go-around. And I didn't say anything about Mr. Alexander. He graduated with a degree in industrial management, went to work for Hewlett-Packard in its infant years, ended up being the worldwide person for Hewlett-Packard for, at that time, pocket calculators and that type of thing. Spent many years in overseas, and his wife was able to do some fashion shows in Paris. So interesting people, and we are excited to have them. The banquet is Saturday, September 26th. That's homecoming weekend. And we made mention of Donna Bruce, and Donna's been very influential in helping us with our Hall of Fame, and I hope to keep her engaged with us as she moves on. And then the other thing that I want to talk about just quickly is that we try and keep the banquet ticket at $40. Obviously, as time goes on, the menu increases, but we are able to sponsor a Hall of Fame golf tournament. It'll be October 1st on Saturday, and then it will be a fun night on the 31st, and that's kind of a fundraiser for us to offset some of the cost with the banquet to keep the price what it is. But things will be out. If you go to UNT County School District #1 website, go to the high school, over on the right-hand side, there's a website for the Hall of Fame, and the information will be on there. So I'm sorry I took up a little bit longer than I thought it would, but thank you.
I'd just like to say one thing, referencing the student council activity that happened today. Remy came home from school, was speaking very highly of it, and had the impression that it was something that was beneficial and it should probably continue.
That's great.
Good to hear.
Anybody else?
I'd like to say one thing, maybe two things. One has to do with Dan's involvement with that whole process. Takes a lot of work, been there, done that to some degree, and I commend him on his effort to do it. If I got it right, Dan, you were a graduate at Evanston High School, 1966, was it?
65.
That's close.
Yep, yep.
Just want to thank him for a job well done. And the other thing, I want to share a snippet on Mr. Thomas. and him and I know this, because it was kind of interesting. Shows what kind of a guy he really is, because this had nothing to do with being a superintendent. We were coming back from Casper, and we got to this last sister. Ryan knows what I'm gonna say. But we couldn't get over it, so we decided to take a side road. And we were wandering off in Lyman, or anyway, off into nowhere land. And it got so bad, the snow was coming down so bad. We're in a school district car, of course, and Ryan gets out to try to make things clear. And I happened to have this big old coat of mine, and I gave it to him. He went out there, put it over his head, and it was just miserable weather. And I thought for sure, to this day, that we were gonna spend the night there. And so did he, and he tried to get us out. But you won't believe this, what was about 30 minutes after that, this truck comes out of nowhere and got us to safe land. And I think God had a lot to do with that one. That's my personal opinion. But Ryan was the effort to try to get that done, and he was a true man of his policy in life. I appreciate him. I've known him a long time. We go back a long ways. I just wanted to publicly express that, Ryan.
Thank you.
I have one comment to follow up on that. I did not know Ryan real well, and we had 3 or 4 trips to Casper and back where I learned a lot about him and his life. And it was on one of those trips that he came up with the idea of using the ESSER funds to give to the teachers and everyone involved with the school district. So, yeah, I enjoyed the trips. Thank you.
I still have some time left.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying.
I appreciate it. Madam Vice Chair, I do have a plaque for Dominic Stewart. So, Dominic is our student representative, but Remy, just want to express appreciation for Remy being here.
Absolutely.
And doing that too. So is Dominic, was he?
Kind of resigned.
Okay. Okay. We don't get that information, but Remy, thank you for being here. I hope it's something in terms of student representative we continue, so. We'll get this to Dominic. It may not mean anything to him, but we sure appreciate that. That's all I had.
Okay. And David and I share the same sentiment, and I told him that I would make mention of it during the board roundtable, not to end on a negative note, but just to implore people to pay attention to who you're voting for. I'm a conservative, and I believe in less government, and I think anyone that has their name associated with the Freedom Caucus, we need to be very cautious that we are looking into those people and making sure that we're making a wise decision when we're voting, because a lot of them made cuts just to make a point or send a message, and that is not someone that we should be voting for. It didn't just affect education. I work at the circuit court, and the cuts that they made to the Wyoming highway patrolmen, it's ridiculous, the cuts they made, and a lot of it was just to drive a point home. So I would just implore you to please do your research and make sure you know who you're voting for.
Not that the state doesn't have the money.
Right, exactly.
That's the part that's hard to solve.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating.
Publicly, tomorrow is an important date. Tomorrow, if you have not registered to vote, or if you are changing your party affiliation, you need to do that tomorrow. Primary election, we just sent that out to staff, is the 18th of August. But if you're registered to vote, you can start the 21st of July and do vote at the courthouse. It is really, really slick.
Yeah, it is.
And you do have to have ID, which I appreciate from the state of Wyoming. But you guys realize the candidates are selected at the primary. They're not really elected at the general election, which is November 3rd. But we need to, as a school district, we have a huge block of vote in terms of education-friendly individuals. And that would be my hope, is that we do find those that are friendly to education. We'll support what needs to move forward with our staff and our students. And like I said, tomorrow is kind of where that starts, so.
And school board will not be on the primary, it'll be on the regular.
Yes.
People need to realize
Yeah.
that.
I think you have until
August 15th.
August 17th to put in for school board. Thank you. I promise I don't have any more.
Motion to
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Any discussion?
Brian?
All in
And
favor?
Dave.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Yeah, Janice, if you could find out.
Kind of wondering what happened.
Remember he was a prisoner today that, like, he didn't resign.
I don't know that I find it, but I just found that sooner. Yeah, I don't know when it started.
Well, thanks for filling in.
Anybody that had it, you know.
What about Peterson?
I don't have it. But I am going to make sure that I'm because
I don't know what's going on. Good, how are you?